It's really chilly last week. I hope you all are managing to get by. I hope everybody stayed safe, kept their pipes from freezing. Um, Wonderful time last night. Went to First Baptist, seen the Williamsons and Sound Street. They have never played together, but I tell you what, they've done an awesome job last night. It was good to see Sadie Williamson and Jaylee Vanderslice, both of the respective groups, stepping up as the younger people to represent not only Oklahoma. The Vanderslices live in Mississippi now, but they still have Oklahoma ties. Just a wonderful thing, just not only for Oklahoma, but for Southern gospel music and music in a whole. That being said, we have several artists from Oklahoma. We've got Reba, the Tractors, I believe. Some of them were from Oklahoma. But Vince Gill's the one I want to talk about today. He sings a song called There Ain't No Future in the Past. You guys remember that? That's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to be in Genesis chapter 19, way in the front of the Bible there. And kind of talking about the future and the past and the present. Kung Fu Panda says, yesterday is gone. It's in the past. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet. It's in the future, but today is the present, so it is a gift. This is where we should be living today, not 20 years in the future, not 5 minutes in the past, because it's in the past and there's no future there. Now, I'm not saying we should forget the past because we learn from our mistakes, but we shouldn't relive the past and rehash the past over and over and over. I know so many times that happens in daily life. We don't live because we're still living the past. So we're going to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah here, and it's going to take probably a couple of weeks for me to get through it, no longer than I'm doing these right now. So let's dive right into it. He says, two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Hear now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet, that you may rise early and go on your own way. Now that is hospitality, southern hospitality, but if you think about it, there's ulterior motives there. Get cleaned up, get washed up, get rested up, so you can get out of here. Um, it's almost like they had already outstayed their welcome. And they said, no, but we will spend the night in the open square. See, they refused to come in to the house, to the place of residence. They refused to bathe. They refused any of this. But he insisted strongly. So they turned into him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. So he's been very, very hospitable. Now, brothers and sisters, we may be entertaining angels anytime something like this happens, but there's more to this story than just us entertaining angels. He said, now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may know them carnally. So before they even went to bed, Lot's house was surrounded by people just itching to get a hold of them. To carnally means to do whatever they wanted with them. Uh, and it doesn't say both old and young men. So we're not talking about ladies looking for gentlemen or gentlemen looking for ladies. This was old men and young men just wanting to get to know the men. And Lot said to them, So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind him, and said, please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. Do not do so wickedly. Now, brothers and sisters, we are on the verge here in the United States of being like Sodom and Gomorrah in this aspect. Not just with what we're talking about here, but with a lot of things. We're so defying God that it's unreal. It's like we're scared to go against the mainstream and kind of just put God on the back burner. Oh, he'll forgive us. Well, that's not the case. And we'll get into that later on. But Lot's asking them, don't do this. He said, see, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, that you may do to them as you wish. So he's even offering his 2 daughters who are virgins to these men to keep them from doing what they're intending to do. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't offer my daughters to anybody for anything. But Lot's doing this, and we will find there's a reason behind it. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof. They came for safety. And he's pretty much begging them, Lord, you guys don't do this. They came to me for safety. Let me keep them safe. Don't push your luck. And pushing your luck, man, I'll tell you, that's not only a TV show from a blast from the past, but that is something that Sodom and Gomorrah did, and that is something else that the United States is doing. And they said, stand back. Then they said, this one came in here to stay, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now, they're not really judges. We all know that God's the judge, but God has sent them to accomplish something, and that is what they're going to do. And same way with us. We are sent out to accomplish things for the kingdom. Now, are we kingdom-minded to do it, or are we carnally minded not to do it? This is what we're going to get into later on. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they became very weary trying to find the door. Now, see, God is gifted them with certain powers, so to speak, but he's gifted us with, if you want to call it powers, he's gifted us with different gifts, each one of us. And one thing we can do is we can bind the evil. We can pray. The Bible says the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. We can stand in agreement. So many things that we can do. These men said to Lot, have you anyone else in here? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, whoever you have in the city, take them out of this place. So the angels are telling him, get all of your family and get them out of here. For we will destroy this place, because the outcry against him has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Now, he has sent us to destroy strongholds, to destroy sickness, to destroy death, and we could do that. We could do that through Christ. Lot went out and he spoke to his son-in-laws who had married his daughters and said, get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. And there's a big exclamation point there. But to his son-in-laws, he seemed to be joking. Now, that is the problem. See, that's why one reason the Bible says no harsh and no coarse joking, because when it comes to stuff like this and you tell people stuff, they look at you like you're joking, and you're not. You're being serious. But in reality, the way the world works today, the jokes that we tell and the things that we say, nobody can tell when you're joking or not. When the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. So he's telling them, look, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here now. We can't hold this off forever. And if you don't get out of here, then you're going to be part of the wrath of God. If we don't change our ways here, we are going to be part of the wrath of God. And while he lingered, the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought him out and set him outside of the city. So the angels literally took them by the hands and took them away from the danger. Something to think about. You know, God still does that today. guides us in the way we should go. But again, we are so headstrong in what we want to do and what we think and what we want that we deny the Spirit's urging. We deny the urging of the guardian angels, so to speak. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay away in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed. Don't dilly-dally. Don't lollygag. Get out of here, and get out of here now, is what he's telling us. And so many times, God tells us that in situations that we're in, and we keep putting ourselves in those situations. And yet those closest to us, that they try to help us, they want to get us on the right track, those are the ones that normally get pushed on the back burner, and we fall into the way of the world. Lot said to them, please, no, my lords, indeed now, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have increased your mercy, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? So even here we see that Lot's begging, don't make me do this. That's too far. I don't want to do this. Let me go here. I'd rather go here. And instead of doing what the Lord would have us do, we tend to barter with the Lord, and the Lord is not someone to be bartered with. And he said to them, see, I have found favor concerning this thing also, and that I will not overthrow the city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive. So God is holding these angels back, and they're not going to do anything until he gets to where he's going. And they make concessions. They said, you go here, but you get there now. And again, we deny the Lord so many times when he's urging us to do things. And we lean on the ways of the world and our own understanding when we should be living by faith and not by sight. Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun had risen upon the earth, then Lot entered Zoar. Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of heavens. So he overthrew these cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground, everything was destroyed. Now, brimstone is basically burned or burning sulfur. And if you can imagine that raining down on the cities, just literally wiped not only them, but everything in and around them out. Now, here's what I wanted to talk about when we were talking about Vince Gill and there ain't no future in the past, okay? His wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. See, she looked back. And so many times in the world today, we look back on things that have happened and we relive it in our minds and our lives, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. We relive it instead of just learning from it and moving on. We relive it. And lest we become a pillar of salt, we've got to start doing what God would have us do and not what Satan would have us do. Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and he saw and beheld the smoke of the land which went up like the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst in the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. So God keeps his promises. I'm going to fail you. Pastor down the road is going to fail you. The evangelist is going to fail you, but God will never fail you. God keeps his word. He cannot lie. He has to keep his word. He is perfection, and he is love. So if you're straight off course today, or you don't know the Lord, give me a call. Give me a text. Shoot me a message on Facebook. Be happy to talk with you. If you don't want to talk with me, talk to a local pastor, a local evangelist. You don't have to be a teacher or a preacher to lead somebody to Christ either. But know that God is looking out for you today, just like he did Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah. with love and patience and understanding. We love you. We will see you next week. I hope you stay warm. Have a blessed week. And if always, if you need anything, please reach out.